when you talk about Miami in 2024, man, I cannot help but feel like Mario Cristobal and that entire organization have just a massive, massive opportunity in front of them. We'll talk about that right now. As I just mentioned, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you've liked the video. Make sure you're following all those socials at JD Piquel, Twitter, Instagram. We appreciate y'all so much in advance for doing that for us, man. Like, hey, it's a year-round ordeal here on this show. It's a year-round operation. It's college football, period. We don't take a break from it. You don't take a break from it because you're an absolute college football junkie, and we appreciate you for that. Get your fix right here, year-round. College football the way that you want it. So as I mentioned, massive, massive opportunity for Miami in 2024. And the immediate future, like that, there's the obvious things to say here, that you can win a lot of ball games in 2024. Like, that's the most obvious part of what this opportunity is. You got a quarterback who you feel pretty confident in. You feel pretty confident in him running the offense that you probably wanted to run last year. The obvious part of that is you didn't really have a consistent product at quarterback, whether it be Tyler Van Dyke or any number of guys that jumped in there for him. Jakari Brown wasn't the guy. Like, there was a lot of things there that left something to be desired at quarterback. Now, at the most important position on your football team, from an ability standpoint, you have upgraded. And that's not just me saying that. Like, you go and check out the reports over there at Kane Sport, which is the Miami on 3 site. You check the message boards and get the intel over there. They'll tell you, like, hey, the presence of Cam Ward in that facility, it's different. It just feels different. And some of that, I know you have to, we did a spring propaganda segment yesterday and talking about how you got to kind of be weary of thoughts around a quarterback. And I understand that. I think that's still fair to be cautious before you see it. But there's no other way around it. Like, Cam Ward's played a lot of football, had a lot of success. He is going to be an upgrade for you at quarterback. I don't think that's a stretch. So you upgrade at quarterback from a team that turned the ball over about as much as anybody else in the country last year, and that, quite frankly, should have been 8-4 if you take a knee. You upgrade at quarterback from a team that should have gone 8-4. Like, how good are you with a solid product at quarterback? I think it's a fair question to ask. Your roster and talent level, when Mario Cristobal got there, wasn't where it needed to be. Wasn't to the standard for the folks in Coral Gables. Wasn't up to Mario Cristobal's standard. That took some time to kind of get that together. Now, is it a finished product? I think they're going to keep building. I think they're going to keep on stacking great recruiting classes. But the overall point is, I think you're now in range to be competitive for the conference title. And that's sort of the next thing I want to say here, man. Like, the ACC, we say it a lot on the show, it feels really wide open to me. And I look across the board here, like the consistent players in that conference, Clemson, pretty much year in and year out, you got to worry about them, right? I mean, they're kind of on a downward trend. I don't feel nervous about Clemson if I'm a Miami fan the same way I have been in the past. Florida State, they lost a lot. Yes, they're the defending champions. They're the team in the state that you got to go try and beat, but like, Jordan Travis isn't there anymore. Keon Coleman's not there anymore. They are 83rd in the country in returning production. There's only 134 teams now, so 83rd in returning production. There's a lot of new faces. They're going to be asked to step up in Tallahassee. Okay? Louisville played for the conference last year, played for the conference title. They got over 20 new transfers, one of them at quarterback. Like, you see where I'm going with this? There's so many new pieces for Miami or across the ACC to where if I'm Miami, I feel like my peak in year 3 is meeting where a lot of these other programs that would typically be contenders are a big question mark. Not saying they won't still be contenders in their own right, but there's a lot of question marks across that conference. And then to kind of sprinkle this on top of it, like, I don't know what Florida is either. Florida, their over-under win total right now is 5.5. It feels like there's a lot of opportunity for Miami to be successful this upcoming year. What I just mentioned, too, with year 3 in that culture, man, I think they're now in a place where year 1, you set the standard. Year 2, you kind of push your entire roster to that standard. Year 3, your team should own that standard. Now, should is the key word there. Will they do it? We're about to find out here, but I think this is the year where you can really start to expect your team to operate like a Mario Cristobal coach team, which for me, given his track record with the way that he's won at different places, should be exciting. Okay, that should be exciting. Now, that's the immediate future. That's 2024. It'll be a fun story. Like, great, let's live it up. Awesome. How about the macro level? How about what it's going to mean long term? Because college football now, we've seen this, since the sport's been in existence, it is a ripple effect kind of sport. And what I mean by that is what you do on any given year, what you do on any given year will impact the next couple of years, right? Because of how you acquire talent, how your team is able to build off of what they did from year to year, the continuity, the consistency on your staff, all those things. Like, optics are so massive in college football. And Miami, the way they've acquired talent, just so we're on the same page, has been phenomenal. Mario Cristobal has gotten after on the recruiting trail. Since he's been there, the 2 years he's been there, 2 top 10 classes. That'll do. Now, 2 top 10 classes under the product of a 5-7 year and a 7-5 year. Y'all, what happens when Miami starts winning? What happens when they go and win 10 ball games this year? What happens when they win the ACC? Or what happens when they make the college football playoff? Like, at that point, Miami's not just a brand. They're not just selling this story of this is how we're trending, come play at the U. Like, you don't have to sell what you used to be anymore. At that point in time, you're selling what you are right now. And I can't stress this enough. That is dangerous. That is dangerous for the rest of college football. Because in the state of Florida, it is so vicious when it comes to recruiting, because you have the in-state schools of Florida, you have the in-state schools of Florida State, UCF now a power conference, then you got Georgia and Alabama trying to get in there. Like, everyone wants to recruit Florida. But I promise you, there's a lot of individuals that would love to stay in-state and play at a power in the state. Florida State, I think, is starting to reap some of that rewards that they have been able to generate some buzz from their success the last couple of years. It wouldn't surprise me if Miami is able to really be a powder keg there and acquire a lot of that top talent. 10% of the top 50 players right now in 2025 reside in the Sunshine State. And again, Miami, they're in that top 10 range. They're recruiting at a high level. There's no way around that. But I'm saying if you start winning, they might be in that top 3 conversation. That might be the extra juice they need to snag a guy from a Big Ten school or an SEC school or flip a commit. Like, that might be that extra juice they need to land those other top-tier players to push them over the hump. So 2024 would be the year where you set the optics and you say, okay, yes, the last couple of years were what they were. They were a building process. Yes, before Mario Cristobal got here, Miami has not been at the standard that we expected to be at. But now, this is a new Miami. You got a guy that's from here, that played here, that understands what it is when it's humming, and he's running the show now. Look what we just did last year. That's the start. Don't you want to come be a part of this? That side of things getting rolling at another level than they already are right now, it's scary for the rest of college football. Very, very scary for the rest of college football. So both on a immediate future level and a macro level, Miami has got some major opportunity in 2024. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.